Hello students, this is Uplift Education Grade 10 Virtual Classroom. Today we are in the science lesson. The unit we are going to discuss today is the quantification of elements and compounds. And I am Abdullah Nawaz. Let's start the first subtopic, relative atomic mass. So students, in today's session, the first subtopic we are going to discuss is about the relative atomic mass. We know all the object has certain mass, right? For example, certain masses we do measure in grams, certain masses we do measure in kilograms, certain masses we do measure in ton, and there are some even smaller masses we can measure it through milligram, microgram, and so many other units. For example, if we measure the mass of a human, it comes about 60 to 70 kilogram. When we measure a mass of a container, we measure using a ton. When we measure some medicine, it comes in milligram or microgram and even smaller than that. But similarly, we know we deal with atoms and molecules, it also has certain mass. What is the unit we are going to use to measure the mass of these atoms and molecules, right? Can we use microgram or even smaller than, let's say, gram turns into picogram. That could be the smallest unit, I guess, something around 10 to the power minus 12. But still, this unit is not enough to measure the mass of these atoms and the molecules. Why is that? Reason, when I consider the mass of a carbon atom, it is about 1.99 10 to the power minus 23 gram. That small it is, 1.99 10 to the power minus 23. Right? When I express this mass in standard form, it is 0.0000 and the 0 continues to about 22 zeros and it follows as 199 gram. That small it is. As I said, if I mention this is in the smallest unit using picogram, I can indicate using a minus 12. Still, it comes as 1.99 10 to the power minus 11 gram, right? So that small it is. Still, even if I express in picogram, this will get a 0.00 value, right? Similarly, not only carbon atom, when we look at some other atom like mass of sodium, it is about 3.819 10 to the power minus 23 gram. Chlorine 6.476 10 to the minus 23. Not only this given example, all the masses of these atoms are really small. So in our calculation, using these kind of small values is not really possible. It's really difficult. So what we do is, rather than expressing his real mass, we go for an alteration, right? The alteration is, for example, let me say I have a big cube. Okay, I have a big cube, or let me say I have cubes in different sizes, and it comes a small cube. Let me say all the cube values are something like this is also in 10 to the power minus 9, 10 to the power minus 12, 10 to the power minus 3. So here what do I do is, I take one cube as my reference point and I compare the size of the other cubes, right? I find how many such small cube I can place in this big cube, right? So now I see I can place 4 such small cube. I say now this cube is 4 times bigger than this small cube. Similarly, now I come to this point, I see I can keep about 9 such small cubes in this big cube. So I say this big cube is 9 times bigger than this small cube. So that is what we call as the comparison. We are expressing this size of these cubes with respect to a certain unit, considering one constant factor. Similarly, in atomic mass also, what we are going to do is, we are going to compare the masses of all these atoms to a constant value. That will make us easy and it will give a constant and a very small numerical value for the masses of these atoms. That is what we call as relative atomic mass. So, relative atomic mass is expressing the mass of an atom or a molecule, atom with respect to certain constant unit. In here, the unit is atomic mass unit, is called as the relative atomic mass. So expressing the mass of an atom relative to a unit is called as the relative atomic mass, right? Or this unit will have a constant mass, right? For that unit only we give a special term called atomic mass unit, right? So as a definition for this atomic mass unit, we can say the mass of the unit to which the mass of the other atoms are compared is called as atomic mass unit, right? In the discovery of this atomic mass unit, different proposals were put forward for this atomic mass unit. As a first proposal, the mass of the lightest atom was proposed as this atomic mass unit. That is the mass of hydrogen, right? What they do is they started comparing all the masses of the atoms to that of the mass of hydrogen. But there was a problem. They got many decimal values, some sort of decimals, right? When they get decimals, there was a problem, but they wanted to keep it maximum possible as a simplest whole number. Then they proposed the second option, that is the mass of oxygen divided by 16, or 1/16 the mass of an oxygen atom. That also was not properly accepted. At present, the most accepted the atomic mass unit, we call it as the atomic mass unit is the 1/12 of the mass of 12 carbon isotope. Right? Some of you get a problem. What is isotope? Isotope is in your I think the third unit you would have studied something called atomic mass number. When we say carbon, if it has an atomic number of 6, right? It means it has 6 protons and 6 electrons in a neutral carbon atom. There can be several carbon atoms. If it want to be classified as carbon atom, it should be contain an atomic number of 6. But you know about the atomic mass number. Here the atomic mass number will be 12, but it has no need to be always same. For the carbon atom, it can be 12, 13, 14. What is the reason for this change in atomic mass number? That means in all the carbon atoms, the number of protons are same, but the number of neutrons are not same. Here there are about 6 neutrons, here 7 neutrons, and here there are 8 neutrons. We know the neutron has a contribution to the mass, but it does not contribute to its chemical nature, right? So due to this, the mass can change depend on the presence of number of carbon. So we say that same chemical species with different mass, only we give it a special term called isotope, right? In here, what we are going to consider is the mass, right? So which isotope we are going to consider will really impact. The isotope we are going to consider is a 12 carbon isotope. Okay, so at the present, what we accept is not the actual mass of the 12 carbon isotope, not the entire mass, 1/12 of the mass of 12 carbon isotope. That means the atomic mass unit is equal to mass of 12 carbon isotope divided by 12. This is what we call as atomic mass unit. So we discussed about atomic mass unit. Now we can understand what is a relative atomic mass, right? So relative atomic mass, we say expressing the mass of an atom relative to a atomic mass unit, right? Or in other term we can say how much a mass of an atom weighs as compared to the mass of the 1/12 the mass of a 12 carbon isotope. So we can say relative atomic mass is equal to mass of the atom divided by 1/12 of the mass of 12 carbon isotope. In other term, for this 12 carbon isotope, we can say atomic mass unit as well, right? So let's say we'll compare the relative atomic mass of oxygen, right? The oxygen has a mass of something around 2.66 10 to the power minus 23 gram, and the mass of the 12 carbon isotope is 1.99 10 to the power minus 23 gram, and we have to consider the 1/12 its share, right? When we calculated, we understand 10 to the power minus 3, 10 to the power minus 3 cancel each other. Similarly, up and down there are units called gram. The gram and gram will cancel each other. As a calculated value, we will get a value of 16.02. Right? Here we can observe our relative atomic mass does not have a unit. Right? So simply we say the relative atomic mass does not have a unit. Right? So simply the second decimal can be omitted, and we can say the relative atomic mass of oxygen is to be 16. Okay? So now we understand how to find the relative atomic mass, and we wrote the equation to find the relative atomic mass. Now you can go through the NX that is given in your textbook, page number 125. They shows the first 20 elements and their relative atomic mass that is calculated using the standard notation as we given. And also we say the relative atomic mass has no units, right? So in the same page itself you can have a look at some worked example. Let's concentrate on the second worked example. They given mass of a certain element A has 8 times the mass of a 12 carbon isotope, right? And they are asking to find the relative atomic mass of this A, right? Let me say A. Whenever we get such a question, first thing what we have to do is we have to write the formula what we have studied to find as they are asking, right? So they are asking to find the relative atomic mass. We have to write the formula for relative atomic mass, right? Relative atomic mass is equal to mass of atom divided by 1/12 of mass of 12 carbon isotope. Here then the thing is we have to identify what is the mass of the atom. Here the mass of the atom is not directly given. Indirectly they have given mass of atom. Let me say atom A is equal to 8 times the mass of 12 carbon isotope. Right? So even though directly this term has not given, so I can directly represent this in my equation. Then let me rewrite my equation with substituted values. What is the mass of the atom? That is 8 times mass of 12 carbon isotope. And now that is divided by 1/12 the mass of 12 carbon isotope. Now we can say the mass of 12 carbon isotope is common to numerator and denominator. So this will cancel each other. And we know when there is a division and it follows another division, 12 goes on top and it comes as 8 into 12, and I get a relative atomic mass of A as 96. Right? Second subtopic we are going to concentrate is the relative molecular mass. Before we are coming into the subtopic, what is a relative molecular mass? Just we will have idea what is a molecule is. In nature, the atoms do not actually exist only as atoms. They react with each other to form the molecules. For example, in nature we have carbon atom, oxygen atoms, but they react to form carbon dioxide. We have hydrogen atom, oxygen atom, they react to form H2O, water molecules, right? These forms the molecules. So, right? So, whenever molecules are formed, we know molecules are formed of atoms. So, the mass of this molecule also will be really small. That also cannot be expressed as its actual value. Here also they go for it, expressing the mass of the molecule comparing to certain unit, right? Here we don't consider a separate unit, we consider the same atomic mass unit, right? So we say as a definition for relative molecular mass, expressing the mass of a molecule relative to the mass of 1/12 of the mass of a 12 carbon isotope as the relative molecular mass. In equation form we can say relative molecular mass is equal to mass of the molecule divided by 1/12 of the mass of a 12 carbon isotope. Let me consider an example finding the relative molecular mass of carbon dioxide, right? The carbon dioxide has an actual mass of 2.66 10 to the power minus 23 gram. According to my equation, relative molecular mass of carbon dioxide is equal to 2.66 10 to the power minus 23 gram divided by 1/12 1.99 10 to the power minus 23 gram, right? We can say minus 10 to the powers, and the powers will cancel each other. The unit and unit will cancel each other. As a calculated value, we will get a value of 44, right? So we can say the relative molecular mass of carbon dioxide is 44. And similar to relative atomic mass, here too it does not bear a unit, right? But here, to find the relative molecular mass, this is not only the way, there is another way. Consider an example. We are traveling in a boat, right? Let's say if I want to make, let me say there are 10 passengers traveling in a boat. If I want to find the mass of the entire system, I have two techniques. One is keeping the entire boat with the people on a scale and measuring the mass. Something like this, taking the entire mass and comparing with the unit and finding the its relative molecular mass. Or in other way, I can weigh the masses of all the individual persons separately and the mass of the boat separately, and I can add all together. That also another possible way, right? Similarly, here in carbon dioxide, we can understand carbon dioxide has 3 atoms. Oh, this is a molecule composed of 3 atoms. 1 carbon atom plus 2 oxygen atom. So what we can do is, we can find the relative molecular mass of this carbon dioxide by adding the relative atomic mass of all the atoms in the molecule. That's also possible, right? So that's what we call relative molecular mass is equal to addition of relative atomic mass of all the atoms in the molecule. Now we say, if I consider the carbon dioxide as my example, there are 1 carbon plus 2 oxygen. So the relative atomic mass of 1 carbon, you can have a reference as your NX given in your book in page number 125 to find the relative atomic mass of this carbon and oxygen. Carbon is 12. So 12 plus oxygen is 16, but we know there are 2 oxygens, so that is 32. As a summation, here also we will get 44. The relative molecular mass of carbon dioxide is 44. So the relative molecular mass can be calculated in 2 different ways. One is by adding the relative atomic mass of all the atoms in the molecule separately, or taking the entire mass of the molecule and comparing with the 1/12 the mass of the carbon atom. So now for the finding the relative molecular mass, some work examples are given in your book in page number 126, I guess. So you can check some work example. Let's have a look on calculating the relative molecular mass of these compounds. One is ammonia, hydrogen sulfate and glucose. Ammonia, we have how many atoms in ammonia? 1 nitrogen plus 3 hydrogen. So the relative molecular mass of ammonia will be relative atomic mass of nitrogen 1, hydrogen is 1, 3 times hydrogen is 3. So the relative molecular mass of ammonia is 17. Okay. So now the relative molecular mass of hydrogen sulfate. We have 2 hydrogen atom plus 1 sulfur atom plus 4 oxygen atom. Relative atomic mass of hydrogen is 1. We have 2 hydrogen, so we have to add 2. 1 sulfur, the relative atomic mass of sulfur is 32 plus oxygen is 16 and there are 4 oxygen, there will be 64. We will get a value of 98. These are done working on the relative molecular mass. And third, we are not going to separately find this as a subtopic, but along with this relative molecular mass, have a look on this. This is called ionic structure. You might heard about the ionic structure. Very common example is the sodium chloride. Right? We know how the sodium chloride are formed. Sodium forms a sodium cation, and the Cl minus anions, they interact or they are interacted to make as a bond. Here when we consider carbon dioxide or ammonia, if we take 1 ammonia mean that will exist as 1 molecule. For example, there will be 1 nitrogen and 3 hydrogen in the molecule. This will be 1 unit, and if I consider another ammonia, that will be a separate unit. But when it comes to the ionic structure, something like sodium chloride, here this NaCl does not mean it's a single unit, something like this. This is not a single unit. This is not the way how we write sodium chloride. There will be a central sodium atom that will be positively charged, that will be surrounded by 6 chlorine atoms. In my board I have drawn only 4 carbons since this is a 2-dimensional board. But when we consider in 3 dimension, there will be 6 chlorine atoms surrounding this sodium. Right? Similarly, when I consider the chlorine, chlorine would be surrounded by 6 sodium atoms, sodium ion cation. Similarly, all these anions and cations will be surrounded with the opposite charges, ions, right? So this will form a long mesh or the mesh. We call this structure as the lattice structure, right? It forms a continuous structure, not a single unit like ammonia or H2SO4 carbon dioxide, right? So here what we do is, how we wrote this formula is, we find the ratio between sodium to chlorine atoms, right, or the sodium to chlorine ions. Here in this formula we find in a ratio 1:1. That means the number of sodium ions and the chlorine ions will be same. If we have 1000 sodium ions, there will be 1000 chlorine ions as well. If there are 250 sodium ions, that will be 250 chlorine ions as well, right? So as a simplest ratio, we write it as 1:1 ratio. Sodium chloride is existed, right? We call writing, so when it exists as a simplest ratio, we write the simplest ratio of these two ions as the formula, right? For this formula, we give a special term called empirical formula, right? So when we are writing the relative mass of this compound, we cannot find the relative mass of the entire compound, but we can find the relative mass for this formula. When I can see the sodium chloride, the relative, so we give the special term relative formula mass. The relative formula mass for sodium chloride will be equal to relative atomic mass of sodium plus relative atomic mass of chlorine. That will be, sodium is 23 and chlorine is 35.5. Altogether I will get a value of 58.5. Is that clear? Similarly, if I have a look on the magnesium oxide, if I want to find the relative formula mass of magnesium oxide, what I have to do is, I have to add the relative atomic mass of magnesium plus relative atomic mass of oxygen. Magnesium is 24 and the oxygen is 16, so I get a value of 40. Is that clear? Similarly, when I have a look on the relative formula mass of calcium carbonate, I have to add the relative atomic mass of calcium, relative atomic mass of carbon plus relative atomic mass of oxygen, but in my formula I have 3 oxygen, so I had to add 3 times the mass of the relative atomic mass of oxygen, right? So calcium is 40, carbon is 12 and oxygen is 16, 16 into 3 is 48. So relative molecule, the formula mass of calcium carbonate will be 100, right? So now we started discussing about finding the relative atomic mass, relative molecular mass. As a final, we have a look on relative formula mass, right? These relative formula mass are written for compounds that are formed by ionic structures, right? So making our video more efficient, we decided to divide the videos into short videos. So we'll discuss the remaining part of this lesson in our second session, right? So if you have any doubts or question or any clarification to be made from this lesson, or even if you have any suggestion or feedback, you are free to use the comment section, right? Hope to see you in the next video.